What we've got is a good deal. I think very much protects the interests of the taxpayer that paid £500 million to put that thing up. And what we've now got is West Ham, a football club, famous historic London football club, as the anchor tenant of the stadium. But there will be loads of other things as well. Rock concerts, athletics competitions, all sorts of other sports, not necessarily involving a spherical ball, and a great future now for our Olympic Stadium. There's 8 out of the 8 venues on the Olympic Park now have their future secure.
Yeah, the government has had to put in an extra 25 million in order to help with the conversion of the stadium. Why was that money necessary?
Before I was elected, as I always say, way back when, they decided not to make that stadium perfectly compatible for football, and it was going to be, and so there was actually one plan at one stage, if you remember, to knock it down or to reduce it to a much smaller athletic stadium. That didn't really have a viable economic future, because you need to get more football, you need to get more activity. Football is what people want to go and watch overwhelmingly. It's the biggest single draw in this country. So we've got a Premiership football club coming in now. And the good thing about the deal is that the taxpayer, that's the Legacy Development Corporation that I chair, gets a share of the revenues, of rents, of catering, hospitality, naming rights, stuff like that. So we won't have to put a penny more of subsidy into the running of that stadium, and we will share in the taxpayer will share in the profits, which is quite right when you consider the investment the taxpayer made.
Why has it taken so long to sort it? It wasn't meant to be like this. Well,
obviously there was a decision which I think personally was perhaps not the most foresightful back in 2006, 2007 or wherever it was, not to have a football-type stadium, or not to make it compatible with football, as they did, for instance, at the Stade de France in Paris, where actually they had this fantastic stadium that is compatible with all sorts of sports. We're going to have to, as you rightly say, we're going to have to spend a little bit more to convert it, but the result is that you'll have a fantastic legacy and a future for the stadium. Another 750 jobs just in the running of the thing, but thousands and thousands of jobs generated by the increased activity, the footfall that the stadium will bring, with football as the anchor tenant, not the only tenant. Loads of other things will now take place in the stadium. It's going to be a fantastic venue for all sorts of stuff, and we're getting interest from around the world. And when you consider the impact that the village has already had on that Olympic site, the Olympic Village already sold now. We've got a future for the Aquatic Centre, for the Velodrome, for the Copper Box. They're all now in private sector hands in one way or another, but delivering jobs and delivering growth for this part of the city.
You're talking, understandably, with a great sense of excitement there, but you must find it a bit depressing when you read Danny Boyle's comments, the man who masterminded the opening ceremony, of course, and he's talking about how he believes the feel-good factor is dead and has been crushed by economic gloom.
Well, I don't know. Well, someone mentioned this to me just now, but it is a natural part of our psyche after a period of great exaltation to go down a bit. But what I can tell you is that people who doubted the ability of London to deliver a great Olympic Games and a great Paralympic Games were proved completely wrong. They will be proved completely wrong if they doubt our ability to deliver an amazing economic legacy from the Games as well. That's what the stadium deal is all about, and that's what many of the other things that we're planning for this park are going to deliver.
Well, thank you very much for coming on to the news channel. I think it's the first time we've spoken to you since you said you quite fancied the job of PM.
Since what?
Since you said you quite fancied the job of Prime Minister.
Oh, I see. No. Let me knock that very firmly back over the net. I've got 3 and a bit more years to run as Mayor of London, and having a fantastic, obviously it's a very demanding but wonderful job to do. 3 and a bit years, as you know, a very long time in politics, and I've said I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it.